folks. Yeah, now we're here backstage at the Sunshine.
I like that intro. Yeah, now.
First day of the SRH Mini Fest, kicking off tonight in Albuquerque. Tomorrow is going to be Phoenix, followed by the closer on Saturday.
Yeah, Vegas.
And we're here with the newly signed, as of November of last year, Miss Whitney Peyton from Philly, PA.
Yes.
I gotta admit, I was not familiar with a lot of Whit's music the last month since Zinger turned me on to the fact that he was gonna do this fest and, you know, had me kind of help promote the Albuquerque show. I'm a fan, and this goes out to all the Whitney Peyton fans on social media and abroad.
Hell yeah, thank you.
And every place, and I'm sure that if you all see the video we're going to shoot tonight, which is all going to be done in super high def 4K, you'll be a fan as well. So, Whit, tell me about how was the trip into Albuquerque today?
Dude, it was good. I mean, I'm used to being on tour and traveling like 12 hours at a time, something like that, but it was like a 6-hour drive. I came from Phoenix, the Phoenix area, so it wasn't too bad. A little chilly.
Did you drive yourself here, or did you just come on a bus?
Well, I came with the crew, so we have a van, but a lot of times I will drive. Like, people are surprised. They'll see me driving the van and be like, wait, Whitney's driving? It's like, yeah, dude. I might need telephone books to fucking prop myself up and be tall enough, but I got it.
Nice, right on.
Yeah.
So how long you been in Phoenix?
Man, I moved to Phoenix like almost 2 years ago, but I moved there and then I was touring right away, so I don't feel like I fully live there yet because I just kind of always on the move, but it's a little cheaper than Philly. Philly's expensive.
So that was the first place that when you relocated to the somewhat west coast, it was to Phoenix?
Yeah, I mean, it's like you can get better real estate and everything than LA, but it's close to LA, so you can just kind of make a weekend trip and drive into LA if you need to. And it's a cool spot. Like, it's in the middle of the desert. It's like such a growing city. It actually just passed, the population is more than Philadelphia right now, which I was surprised. I thought Philly was way bigger, but it's like Phoenix is just like the second biggest growing city in America for some reason. I think it's just because like you can get great houses, everything like that.
And people are expanding outside of LA because it's so expensive and crowded.
Dude, everything's expensive. Gas expensive, insurance, you know, anything to do with your car registration. It's just like so crazy. So I was like, yeah, I'm better off just being in Phoenix. I tour anyway.
Sure. So you know, going into kind of the touring thing in music, you know, just in kind of studying up on your background, you know, one thing that stood out, you know, in 2002, you did Sorry That I'm Not Sorry. I think you did that.
No, it was like
2012. I'm sorry, 2012.
I was like, whoa. I was like, probably
my fault, you guys.
6 or 7.
I don't have my notes. So,
you're fine.
So 2012, you did, which again, that's one of my favorites.
Thank you.
Love that song. You know, was bumping it on the way here from Santa Fe. But that it looks like you released that independently when you weren't signed, and then redid it on Firecracker. Is that right?
Yeah, because I took some of my more popular, like, fan favorite songs and was like, oh, let's make rock versions, because now I know all these bands and I have the capability of making like live, like, instrument versions of it. So yeah, I just did that, and that was one of my bigger songs. Whoopie Whoop was one of my bigger ones, but I released a lot independently prior to signing with anyone.
Right on. So, you know, the other thing, I don't think I've ever met an artist that kind of went independent and produced their own stuff and kind of shied away from the labels. How did you get networked into, and what resources were made available to you to produce your own stuff at the age of what, from my you know, calculations, you were like 15 years old?
Yeah. Well, I wasn't necessarily making all of the instrumentals entirely myself. I just started becoming friends with different people who were musicians, and they did something maybe different than me, and it's like, oh cool, how can we like collaborate with each other? You make beats, I rap, like send me some beats, I'll rap on some beats. You're just getting started, I'm just getting started, kind of thing. So it kind of started like that, people just reaching out to each other on the internet, because like that was such a new wave of doing music. Like, even when I first started, CDs and stuff were still a big thing or whatever, but like the internet was becoming like massive for people to just collab through there, and it really opened a lot of doors for me to find people across the whole country to work with, to send me beats. Like, I had people in Montana sending
you're highly, highly responsive and interactive with your fan base.
Yeah,
on
dude.
YouTube. I mean, I was going through. I mean, I stopped counting, but it's in the thousands as to how many responses you provide to your fans. What's been the most kind of touching, moving, heartfelt moment that you felt so compelled to respond that maybe you even still are in touch with that fan to this day?
Man, you know what? I've had, I think the most touching moment, and unfortunately I'm not still in touch with certain fans, but like when I visit fans in hospice and stuff like that. So that, and and then they pass and it's really a big tragedy, but that's like super eye-opening when you have fans that are like, I'm in hospice, can you come visit me? And I'll go see them. I've seen a couple people or talked on the phone with a couple different people in hospice that were around my age and everything. So it's just like, anytime you take life for granted, you think about that kind of thing. Because there's so many times I'm like, man, why am I not farther in my career? Why am I not here? Why am I not there? And then I talk to someone who's in hospice and they literally like, that's their fight every day is doing that. And I'm worried about some dumb shit. You know what I mean? Like
some silly relationship drama.
Right.
This person's about to die.
Right. So you're like, oh, I got a parking ticket, I'm upset. And then this person's literally like in hospice. It just, it puts things in perspective. Like, okay, shut up. Like, you, like, do your thing. Be grateful for everything. Because these people I talk to, they don't sound like, I don't know if they're at a point where they seem like they've accepted or whatever, but they're like very brave. And I'm like thinking, if I was in this position right now, would I be as brave as this person seems? Like, they just seem like they're like, okay, like, I'm gonna take this head on and like, I'm gonna be brave about it.
Sure.
That's if that's not life changing, I don't know what is for sure.
Right on. So as you travel throughout, I was reading about how much you toured extensively. I believe it was in 2016 with the remaining members of 3-6, now Da-6, right?
Yeah, the Mafia 6.
The Mafia
they like
6.
changed their name for the tour. Yeah.
So what market do you go to where you find it's like, wow, I didn't even know I had these many fans in this town. You've got just like, the fans are just overwhelming.
When I first started touring, I guess I didn't realize how big of a music market in general that like Denver is. I didn't realize that like the Midwest, I have a lot of fans in Ohio. I have a lot of fans in Illinois. So like for me, the Midwest is the best, but then also seeing places like in Colorado, seeing Phoenix, Arizona even does have a good music scene. Places that you wouldn't hear about because you always hear about like New York, LA, like the big cities, but there's sometimes some cities that you wouldn't realize. You're like, oh, they go in. They're like, it's like Albuquerque is one of them. Like
Right.
I played here with Ritz and Dizzy Wright, and this place was like full, and they went hard. I was like, holy shit, I didn't like realize.
Well, I knew you were here with Twisted last year. I didn't know you were here with Diz.
Yeah, a couple
Wow.
months ago. Yeah, Twisted might have even been the year before,
Okay.
but coming through, places like Albuquerque, just it's like, okay, you guys don't get enough credit for bringing it.
Yeah, I'm told that the bus drivers time out when they're on their way east from LA, and that's why this is such a great market for music.
Okay. That makes sense.
Because I'm like, why do we get all this good music here? And I
You're
talked to-
surprised?
I mean, Albuquerque's not, it's not really that big of a town, but right on. So do you miss Philly? Do you go back? Are mom and dad and fans still back? Everybody's back over there?
Yeah, all my like friends and family, a lot of them still reside in Philly. So I do go back and forth. I don't miss the snow, I will say that. So I'm used to like digging my car out of snow and living in Phoenix. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. It's like 70 degrees in the winter. This is so crazy. This doesn't feel like Christmas or whatever. We're like decorating cactuses instead of Christmas trees, I think. But yeah, I fly back. I've been back often. Of course, when I tour, I go through. So I just try to make it a point to go back there because it is, where I'm from and where I got started and where my roots are.
Right on. So you've got today kicking off the SRH Fest, Phoenix tomorrow.
Yeah.
Vegas Saturday. What else is on the horizon as far as touring and any collabs that you want to talk to the fans about?
Well, I mean, we just released that album like a month ago, so I am working on new music. What I'm gonna do is do a lot more like festival dates, so I'm looking to announce a couple things that I have coming up that aren't announced quite yet, but that's what I plan on doing. More music videos, more festival dates and like just more internet content in general, because I need to catch up. I feel like I need to put out more music videos and things like that. I'm really into the visual aspect, and when I tour so often, it makes it so hard to release music videos all the time, because I don't want to just be like, okay, let's just rap in front of this brick wall. Like, I like to have thought out videos with cool visuals, so I don't like to just rush them. So I want to like be home and just be like, boom, boom, music video, music video.
Speaking of videos, so as you are, was that inspired by a particular person?
Oh, I mean, yeah, it was. I definitely would say a lot of my music is inspired by either current relationship, past relationships, or, you know, because I have a lot of breakup songs too. And people are always like, you're like the Taylor Swift of rap with your breakup songs, dude. Like, which ex hurt you? I'm like, oh, it could be from so many different past relationships, or it could be a story one of my friends told me, and I'm like, oh, okay, I could write a song about that, and I'll put myself in like their position and like write it from someone else's perspective, or write it from the perspective of someone who would be talking to me like, I hate you, you're my ex. Like, I'm probably the one that fucked up the most.
Right.
So yeah.
So what about you know, your roommate? Is
so,
it,
the I Hate Your Roommate.
You Hate Your Roommate song. Was that, I mean, was that a story by a friend and you wrote about it, or was that a first-hand experience?
I did have a bad roommate, like that I found on Craigslist one time, so don't find your roommates on Craigslist.
No Craigslist people.
This was like back in the day, so I did have a bad roommate, but I like spiced it up with other things that I heard about other people's bad roommates. Like, so the bad roommate I had wasn't messy. He was like super OCD, but it was to the point of like, I didn't feel like I lived there. I feel like I was always like almost a guest in my own apartment, because he'd be like, just like anything I would put down, he would like pick up and like put back or something. I'm like, dude, I'm using this. I'm doing this. It was like overbearing almost, and wouldn't let me put any of my stuff in the room. Like, I'm like, oh, I have furniture, I have a TV. He's like, no, like only my stuff in the common rooms. I'm like, okay, all right. So it was just very controlling. But hearing people's stories of their bad roommates, they're always like, they party so much, they always have people over that I don't know, or they're always eating my food and shit like that. And I'm like, okay, I could take experiences from me and then experiences from my friends, but it's just like everyone relates to that song.
Including myself. So, you know, going in the you know, the tempo and the just the entire composition of the song is just, it's so diverse relative to the new record, for instance. It's like Alpha's super traditional hip hop, and which is awesome. I love it, but at the same time, it's like you fashioned yourself as a rock and roll artist prior to that, you know, collabing with other people, and there was, you know, there was some hip hop influence from my vantage point and stuff that I listened to before, but I think this is your most hip hop kind of specific record, yeah?
Yeah, I think so, because before, I don't want to say I was doing parody songs, but definitely songs like I Hate My Roommate are not meant to be taken seriously. I wanted people to see that I don't really always take myself seriously. So when they're commenting things like, oh, she's not rap enough, or she's not this enough, it's like, I just like write what I want to write, and that writing that song, I didn't think it was like bars, like I'm writing this is so technical. No, I was just like, this is such a dumb song, but it's like catchy and relatable, and I'm like, I felt like Weird Al writing it a little bit. You know Weird Al, he writes it like, I was like, this is like a Weird Al song. But then on the flip side, I like doing stuff like Alpha, because I was like, okay, like let me prove though that I have more substance to me than just what you guys have heard before, you know.
So did you conceive the lyric about Snoop not doing red?
Oh, for Sorry Not Sorry? Well, yeah, I was trying to be I was just trying to have a clever punchline, because I'm like, the haters, like, they write me messages with all caps in the letterhead. Like, you know how people, when they're writing you hate messages, they like write in all caps, like they're yelling and stuff. All caps in the letterhead. I treat them like Snoop's bandana, never read. Like, I never read. It was like a double entendre. I never read the emails, but also Snoop.
Oh, never read. I thought you meant never R-E-D.
No. but I did. It was a double meaning. So it was
Gotcha.
so it's like they send me hate mail with caps in the letterhead. I treat them like Snoop's bandana, never read. Meaning like, yeah, I don't read the emails, but also like Snoop's bandana is never read. So that was like a punchline I wrote when I was like 16, 17.
That's some.
But like, yeah.
That's some multifaceted innuendo right there by a long shot for sure.
Thank you. Everyone likes that. They're like, so wait, are you like a blood? I'm like, no. I'm just saying that Snoop wouldn't wear red, so I was using it for the email thing. Yeah, it was funny.
So when you first started, you know, in reading your background, you know, you started writing poetry and writing. At what point were you like, you know, 14, 15 years old, you were like, wow, you know, I want to start getting into the music game? And was there a particular person that you happened to coincidentally meet that was like the segue and the bridge that got you into doing what you're doing today?
Well, I would say there was people that inspired me to be more of a creative. Like, I was seeing the visuals from like TLC, Missy Elliott, Eve, who's from Philly, like the music videos, like I was seeing their music videos, and Missy Elliott has crazy music videos. I don't know if you've ever like paid attention to her, but she's always, something wild's always happening in her videos. And I was like, this is so cool, like I wish I could do something like this. And then I really started doing like spoken word first, because especially in like Philly, it's very artsy and historic, and they do a lot of like spoken word poetry, and I was kind of dipping into that and doing that. And then I was like, I wonder if I could put this kind of to a beat. And then at first I was terrible, because I would write before I would listen to the beat, because I was like, oh, I have all this great poetry and write it down. And then when I would go to like try to rap it on the beat, I wasn't writing to the beat, so it was all awkward and off rhythm, and I had to like learn how to actually ride the beat rather than just have it be there, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like you have to coexist and not just be like there's an abstract beat going on, you know what I mean? So it took me a minute, like I had to transition.
So do you get involved with you know, with spinning music and, you know, kind of like the backside of your productions?
Yeah, I mean, for the Alpha album, I recorded that whole album myself. So as far as the instrumentals, other people were doing the instrumentals, but when I went to record the vocals, I recorded that in my apartment.
What?
So I set up all this padding. I like bought all this studio padding on like Amazon, and I like set it all up. I got a good mic and everything, and I'm like, I'm gonna try to record myself, because I think it'll be the most like intimate, like real takes that I can get, and then I'll get someone really good to mix and master it, but I want to record it myself. So I recorded the whole album and then took it to one of my homeboys who's mixed a lot of my current stuff, and he just took the layers and mixed it for me and everything, but I already had the songs and all that. That's why there's not a lot of features, because I was just kind of like, I'm just gonna have it be like an autobiography, I guess.
And you went to Zinger and said, sir, this is what I got for you.
Dude, it's actually a really funny story, because I was doing it, I started recording it before I got signed to Some Noise. I had the album, like you said, I had it kind of before, but I was about to go on tour with Ritz and Dizzy Wright, and in my mind I was like, I'm gonna put out a 5-track EP to go along with this tour, and I'm gonna go on tour and sell my 5-track EP. So I'm like, I end up on the phone with Zinger, and I'm like, oh, Zinger, you know, you guys want to release my EP? Does Some Noise want to release my EP? And he's like, we want to sign you, but we want to sign you for a full album. And I was like, oh shit. And the tour was starting in like 2 weeks or 3 weeks or something. And he was like, do you think you could give us a full album? You have a full album, right? And I was like, yeah, totally, yeah. And then I get off the phone, I'm like, shit. And I was like, I didn't have a full album at all. Don't tell Zinger, he doesn't know. To this day, he doesn't know. But I had like, that song, I Got It, I had recorded, and I had like a couple other ones that weren't mixed yet, but I was like, okay, well, if he signs me, like, they'll be mixed in time. It's only 5 tracks. And then he was like, you have a full album, right? I was like, yeah, totally have a full album. And just like, started writing, got off the phone, started writing.
That's the entrepreneurial spirit for sure.
I was like, yeah, you'll have it. We'll have it in your inbox tomorrow. We got it. It was funny. It was crazy.
So talking about, you know, the live show tonight, what is a song that when you look at the set list in front of you on stage, what is a song that you're most pumped to play? That like you're like, you know.
Ooh, it's so weird, because I always like my newer songs, because I'm like, okay, this showcases my skill better. But at the same time, there's certain songs that are just kind of timeless to perform. Sorry Not Sorry is definitely one of them, because it's kind of like, Yeah, that's the song that I've been doing it for a while. I know it. There's a song called Through the Wall that's from the Firecracker album. That's just like a mosh pit song, in my opinion. So a lot of times at festivals or bigger shows, playing Through the Wall is like my jam.
Nice.
Yeah.
What artists do you enjoy touring with, and who would you like to tour with? What energy do you connect with the best performer, and who would you like to tour with in the future?
The guy who really like taught me how to perform by just watching him was the first tour I ever did. It was R.A. the Rugged Man, and I don't know if you've heard of him, but he is he's more of a golden era style rapper, and he just like has so much energy on stage. It's ridiculous. Like he'll jump into the crowd, but he doesn't have a wireless mic. He has a wired mic, so he'll jump in the crowd and be like walking through the crowd, like pulling the cable of his mic. He's like pushing people around, trying to get them to mosh, and throwing water and doing all this crazy shit. And I was like, this guy knows how to perform, because he's getting people into it and engaging and not just standing there and it's like, you just watch me do my thing, and it feels like there's this glass barrier. Like it felt like we're here, this is real life. And I was like, okay, this guy knows how to perform. So he's definitely a good one. I like him as a person a lot as well. Ritz is a great one. He's someone I toured with. Cottonmouth Kings I've toured with, and they're unbelievable. When I first went on tour with them, I was like, okay, I know there's like a lot of them in the group and a lot going on and a drummer and this and that. I'm like, let's see how it looks on stage, because sometimes that can be chaotic. Sometimes it's like you don't know what to look at, but the fact that they've performed so long together, it's like organized chaos. Like you watch it and you're like, wow, I thought that they were gonna be like running into each other, stepping on each other, or have a hard time because there's so many of them, but it's not like that at all. They work in like perfect harmony as to when to come in, when to like their movements together. It's so crazy. I watched it, I was like, whoa, okay, yeah, you can tell they've been a group for a while. So that was pretty wild to me as well.
Nice, very nice.
Oh yeah.
So on that note, so are you a proponent of the cannabis movement and this sort of thing? I think in one of your songs, you're not smoking, you're vaping.
I was like, I don't smoke, I vape. Yeah, because I can't smoke blunts. There's the tobacco in the blunts. Fuck me up. I'm like not good with anything tobacco. It's like super harsh on my voice, but I really like CBD. And then if I do smoke, I like indica. Sativa, I'll be like paranoid as hell. And I can't smoke before I perform, or I would just probably forget what song I'm even doing.
What about writing music? You know, a lot of people, it kind of, it fosters creativity and whatnot. Do you find that?
I was more for writing than recording. If I'm gonna record, I don't want to smoke just because it will make my voice rough. I have like a sensitive voice, like when it comes to that kind of thing. But yeah, writing, I've been integrating it more and more. At first, because of the fact I just like, it took me so long to even really become a smoker, because when I lived on the East Coast, you couldn't choose your strain. It's not like that. It's like, oh, what is this? Oh, it's weed. You don't know what it is. It's Reggie. It's like, it's a Jeffrey. You don't know what this is. So forever, I didn't smoke. So everyone's like, oh, she's not even a stoner or a piehead. It's like, I won't say I'm a piehead because these guys can smoke me on the table easily, obviously. But I do smoke probably almost every day. I'm just like a lightweight because I'm just chilling. I'll become super couch locked. And I know everyone's gonna be like, it's because you're smoking indica. But if I don't smoke indica, I'm gonna be like, you're the cops, everyone's the police. But yeah, I'm becoming better at actually being able to do something while I'm high. Because before it'd just be like, I'm high, I feel really good. And I'd be like, not get anything done. I'm just chilling, but now I'm a little better. It's funny.
It's a plant, you know. It grows on the ground. Come on now, right?
No, I love it. I'm definitely an advocate. Like, I'm certainly an advocate. It's so much better than, there's so many prescription pills getting just given out to people so easily at the drop of a hat. So I don't get how someone could be like, okay with that, but not with weed. I'm like, yeah, I don't see the issue with it at all.
We'll have a separate interview and talk about
just
the whole
that
epidemic, right?
Right, yeah, that's a big thing.
So, you know, the political exposure and focus right now on the LGBTQ community is certainly, you know, something that people need to pay attention to. Have you played any shows? Have you had any fans reach out to you that you've kind of, talked to offline, and kind of talk through things about that whole topic?
Yeah, but for a while I felt like a hypocrite because I was very, like, in my own sense, I don't want to say closeted or whatever, but I was not completely upfront, I think, with who I was, you know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, who am I to even give anyone advice at first? I have played shows for, like, prides and stuff, but I think too, I was scared, and this shouldn't even have been a thing, but I was just scared that, like, okay, when I first started rapping, of course, they're like, oh, this white girl rapping, so I was white, I was girl. It was already, like, multiple things that made them be like, oh, she's a white girl rapper, and I'm like, so now I open up about more stuff, that's just even more labels getting added to me. Like, I just felt like everything, it was just, like, so specific. I was getting put in such, like, a specific box, and I didn't like that, so I was like, I just want to rap and everyone to focus on that because I don't want people to think they can't relate to my music.
Right.
That's, like, really scary for me. I was like, oh, I can't relate to her because she's not like me or something, but that's not true at all. I actually released Alpha being kind of scared at some of the things I say on there because I was being very truthful for, like, the first time, and that felt hypocritical because that song's like, sorry, I'm not sorry. So I should be not sorry, right? So I was like, I gotta live up to this because this is my truth. And then it was the opposite. Like, everyone that's listened to it, I've had a number of dudes and everything be like, yo, these are dope. Like, this is what's up. I relate to this. I'm like, really? You relate to it? And they're like, yeah, for sure. Like, even whether you're straight or different ethnicity or whatever, like, I think as long as you're being really genuine, they can find a way to relate to you. And I kind of get that because I really liked Eminem when I first started rapping and stuff, and I still like him now. But he would say a lot of things that I couldn't relate to, like he'd be like talking about a trailer park and stuff. I didn't grow up in a trailer park, but you tend to like Eminem because you can envision what he's talking about. So even if you're not trying to kill your wife or whatever, like things like Eminem, you don't have the same experiences, you still relate to it because you're like, I get what you're saying.
I think there was some kind of, you used the Weird Al analogy earlier. I think there was a little bit of that going on in Eminem's, first work.
And then he got mature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it got more deep, but yeah, there was a lot of humor and just some Weird Al going on there.
I think because when you come in the music industry and you have an image that's not, especially him at the time, being like this white guy, and now there's a million like awesome, Caucasian rappers, but you want to prove that you don't take yourself seriously because you already have it in your mind that no one does. So it's kind of like, well, I don't take myself seriously either. So there, like, that's kind of, I can't speak for him, but I'm just saying that's kind of like the mentality I've had sometimes when I'm approaching certain songs,
Right on. So, I could go on for hours, but she's got a show to play, and we're gonna let Whit just go ahead. If there's anything that you'd like to say to your fan base about the SRH Fest, about Alpha, about your old stuff, the floor is all yours.
No, I appreciate people who have been supporting for a long time. I appreciate people who are just finding out about me. A lot of people were like, oh, I hadn't heard about you before, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry I hadn't heard about you. I'm like, that's great. That means new people are finding out about me. I love hearing that. So thank you so much. Make sure you pick up my new album, Alpha. And of course, it came out through Subnoise Records. So.
Okay, and Alpha's great. I love it, but just go on to Spotify, all the different music outlets, and listen to Firecracker.
Hell yeah.
She's got 6 EPs when she was just a baby. And
oh my
go
God,
check
yeah,
that
not
stuff
even
out.
like official stuff, just like datpiff.com stuff, but yeah, check it out.
All right, well, that concludes things. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Oh, wait, hold on. I was like, what are we doing? Peace out.
Woo.
I love that. Because I always go to grab people's hands and I never know.
That was perfect. That was 30 minutes.